Reg Park is considered one of the greatest bodybuilders of all time, developing a Herculean physique that to this day is very impressive and just screams strength. His arm development was just as impressive, and today we are going to look at his favorite biceps routine, and I will also be demonstrating this routine in the Reg Park Museum gym using his original equipment, so let's get straight into it. Firstly, some background. When Reg Park first visited America after winning the Mr. Britain in 1949, he trained with several champs like Marvin Eder, Clancy Ross and Floyd Page, all which taught him advanced Silver Era bodybuilding techniques. What amazed Reg the most was that all the bodybuilders in the US used a large number of exercises together, with every conceivable type of equipment. Essentially, he realized that to completely develop a body part, one had to use a variety of exercises to stimulate muscle growth. In this routine that will now be explained, Reg Park made sure to combine exercises with a set and rep scheme that develops both size and power in the biceps. To do so, he believed in combining heavy weights for many sets of low reps for developing power and strength, whilst using lighter weights for higher repetitions and sets, which were good for developing size. Listed here we have Reg Park's favorite biceps routine: the 2 hands barbell curl for 4 sets of 8 repetitions, swinging simultaneous seated dumbbell curls for 4 sets of 8 repetitions, supinating single arm incline bench curl for as many reps as possible, strict standing dumbbell curl with supinated grip 4 sets for 8 repetitions, and dumbbell concentration curls for 4 sets of 8 repetitions. Reg Park did not indicate how many times a week he would train in this fashion when specializing in biceps development, but I would assume that for a natural lifter, twice a week would suffice. 2 hands barbell curl. Reg Park's favorite exercise for the biceps was the regular 2 hands barbell curl, performed with a slight cheating form. He would take a weight that he would find difficulty in curling in a strict style. He would start by leaning forward to begin the curl. As the weight came up, he would straighten up and then lean back slightly at the end of the curl. As Reg put it, quote, "This type of curling did not mean that you performed an underhand clean, and it is not necessary to handle such a weight that it requires gigantic heaves and backbends." End quote. Much like Arnold Schwarzenegger would famously do trying to handle 270 odd pounds in his 1960s exhibitions in England. Instead, only a slightly looser form is required, with only a slight bend forward and backward. This technique was later mastered by Arnold, as seen in his 1975 pumping iron footage. You can see that Arnold is actually doing exactly as Reg says, starting the barbell curl, leaning forward at the start, then straightening up as the bar comes up, and then leaning slightly back to finish off the repetition. With such a technique, Reg Park was able to perform a slow 2 hands curl with 180 pounds, a British record in 1952, and at the time of writing this article, he felt he was capable of even more. Swinging simultaneous seated dumbbell curls. This second exercise was taught to Reg Park by Marvin Eder, and that is the swinging simultaneous seated dumbbell curl. Marvin would sit down with a pair of dumbbells, and using a backward swing, he would swing the dumbbells vigorously forward and up in a simultaneous fashion. Reg Park recommended having a training partner hold you down, as heavier weights could be used. Reg Park also leaned back slightly to allow the bells to come up. At the end of the curl, Reg Park would also bring his elbows up without moving the dumbbells from the shoulder, to really cramp the biceps, much like Leroy Colbert did. Knowing that, I have no doubt that Marvin Eder taught Leroy Colbert this technique too. According to Marvin Eder and Reg Park, this was one of the best exercises for developing peak in the biceps. The supinating single arm incline bench curl. Clancy Ross taught Reg Park this movement, and it is an incline dumbbell curl with a twist. Originally, it was performed much like an alternating incline hammer curl, much like Vince Gironda advocated later in the 1960s and 70s. Clancy had Reg Park stand at an incline, and the dumbbells were curled up strictly, starting with the hands at neutral and supinating as the forearms reached parallel to the floor. Reg would use a weight that would allow him to perform 10 straight reps with one arm without alternating, and then he would perform 10 straight reps with the other arm. He would then alternate back to the first arm and perform as many reps as possible. Then switch back to the second arm and repeat until you can only do 2 repetitions per arm. This is a killer exercise and setup. I tried it out myself, and you can see that this technique of just going from one arm to the other, decreasing the reps as you go, is just insane. It gives you a crazy pump, and your biceps are just cramped and fried by the end of it. Just watch as the intensity increases through each set as I perform one set after another. After exhausting one arm, I started off with 10 reps, and then I go to 8. I believe I then go to 6 repetitions, then 4, and finally 2 reps. And by the end of the whole giant set, which is essentially what it is, you can barely squeeze out 2 repetitions. And so this technique works marvelously for just frying the biceps. The strict standing dumbbell curl with supinated grip. The next exercise performed by Reg Park was the strict standing dumbbell curl with a supinated grip, that is, palms facing forward at all times. Curls were performed simultaneously, that is, no alternation. The dumbbells are curled together up and lowered as slowly as possible. In this fashion, Reg Park was sure to mention the importance of working the concentric and eccentric portions of the repetition. To think that this concept of training all portions of the repetition came from the Silver Era, as it is often associated with Arthur Jones in the 1970s. Again, I'm demonstrating it here, and you can really see that it's very important to contract the biceps correctly in strict form, and then slowly bring the bells down, really working on the eccentric. Believe me, by the time you reach 8 repetitions, your arms are toast. The dumbbell concentration curl. The final exercise Reg Park used was the dumbbell concentration curl, as taught to him by Floyd Page. Floyd Page attributes this exercise to creating a split in the biceps. And this is obvious when we look at the footage of Arnold using the concentration curl in the movie Pumping Iron. Bending over, pick up the dumbbell, hang the arm and keep the upper arm still, and bend only at the elbow, bringing the dumbbell up to the shoulder. Then bring up the elbow, keeping the dumbbell in place to cramp the biceps. Although Floyd Page enjoyed performing concentration curls with lighter weight and high combinations of reps and sets, Reg Park found more benefit using heavier poundages for 4 sets of 8 repetitions. As a final note, Reg recommended posing practice after any workout, specifically practicing muscle control and peak contraction of the biceps to bring out biceps separation. So that was Reg Park's favorite biceps routine, and I hope that you have enjoyed the video and my demonstration of each exercise. If you are interested in purchasing the featured Reg Park apparel, these designs are available on my website as tanks, shirts, sweatshirts, and hoodies. Also available on my website are many of Reg Park's original booklets as e-booklets, as well as his publication, the Reg Park Journal, as an e-magazine. If you have enjoyed this video, then please give the video a thumbs up, subscribe, and leave me a comment. That's it from me. This is the Golden Era Bookworm saying bye for now, and thanks for watching. Head to www.goldenerabookworm.com for the biggest range of classic old school bodybuilding books as ebooks, e-magazines such as Iron Man and Reg Park Journal, high quality bodybuilding posters of the Golden Era stars, merchandise and classic gymwear featuring Steve Reeves, Marvin Eder, John Grimmick, Reg Park, and many other Golden Era stars. For those wishing to build a classic physique, lose fat, and build muscle, online training is also available. Collectibles such as rare autographed photos from the Golden Era stars are also available, and to collaborate, please get in touch. Now, if you're interested in learning more about Vince Gironda's approach to bodybuilding, his principles, and all these tips of wisdom that he has, I mean, there's so much stuff that probably hasn't been proven by science, and it will take science to prove or disprove Vince. But to be honest, these 3 books, I believe, which I call the Classic Physique Bundle, are the best books that Vince ever came out with. And they, of course, are the Wild Physique, the Master Series, and the Pro Series. Have a look at it this way. The Wild Physique, I believe, is like the ABCs of Vince Gironda's principles to bodybuilding. He teaches you the exercises and his principles. But how do you put them together? Well, the Master Series is a 14-month program of using all of these principles, all of the diets that Vince came out with, all of the exercises. And of course, the Pro Series was a book that he came out with later on, specially targeted for getting into competition. It's just these 3 books, as I call it, the Classic Physique Bundle, Vince's best work, and available, of course, at www.goldenerabookworm.com.